as far as I'm concerned, there should be or could be or will be as many coins as there are web pages.
Hey guys, Jeff here from Axel, and I'm meeting all sorts of great people here in Toronto at the Blockchain Impact Summit. And one of those individuals is right here next to me. That's Steve Dryall, CEO of Nikola, Tesla, Unite, and you live here in Toronto. You're based here in Toronto.
Yes, yes.
Tell me about your company, because you guys have an interesting concept.
Yeah, so Nikola, Tesla, Unite Limited, we're the for-profit organization that works with the non-profit organization, the Nikola Tesla Foundation International. And they answer back to the Nikola Tesla Museum in Belgrade. So they're the ones with all the Nikola Tesla goodies. So as a for-profit organization, we're pursuing the ideologies supported by Nikola Tesla and the foundation, all that kind of stuff. And part of our efforts in doing that were to create our own cryptocurrency, which is called Nico. So that's
a fun name to it.
Yeah.
And tell me how consumers are using your product.
So with Nico, so basically what we did, rather than, we took a different approach to things. We launched our economy based on a framework that I put together. It's called the 3 pillars of a viable cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So, and basically, so the 3 pillars are technology, community, and liquidity. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is we've focused on building out all 3 of those pillars equally.
Right.
So that creates a proper economy to support the currency. So essentially, we designed it to be a currency that people can use to do stuff. So we made sure that there are ways that you could spend the coin and use it in interesting ways. Before we even launched, before we even started, we had our technology, we had the wallets and all that kind of stuff. We set up an agreement with a charity who's been around since the 70s, and they agreed to accept it in exchange for a tax receipt. So we had things going right from the beginning, basically, and that's been our mission, is focusing on using it for stuff.
Now here at the summit, you're seeing all these companies emerging from around the world, either developing their own coin or developing their own blockchain, or both. What's your impression so far of the blockchain community and how it's growing and the overall impact it will have on society?
I've been loving the blockchain space practically since it started, for years and years now. It's transforming the way things are going, for sure. I'm a big believer in, I'm called a hyper pluralist, I guess, where I'm a big believer in the fact that there should be more coins, more currencies, more. As far as I'm concerned, there should be or could be or will be as many coins as there are web pages.
Right.
Looking back in history, there was a time, when the web started up and people said, only corporations need the website and this and that, and look where we are today. And cryptocurrency and blockchain, there's some similarities there, so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm definitely a believer of there being lots.
I know you're learning a lot about the companies here. You now have an idea of what Axel is doing. What's your impression so far, and our aim to give control back to content creators?
Definitely a big believer in that application overall. I wrote a white paper actually years ago that covered the topic of decentralizing content distribution and fairly compensating, content creators, and going before that, my ancient history. I've been in technology and media and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So. In content creation, I'm definitely a big believer in what you guys are trying to accomplish. In addition to, I think the way that you guys are going about it is great, and it's something that's needed and will be a disruptor as we go forward in the land.
Do you think content creators don't have a fair shake in today's market?
That's definitely. That's been an ongoing thing, and regardless of the content creator type too, where industry-wise you have the different silos that music, movies, and books and photography, whatever else in between, blogging and this and that, and it's known that a lot of those industries have thrived off of intermediaries and opaque transactions, and
Right.
and content creators have notoriously suffered at the hands of that, or have lost money and whatever else, and same thing on the consumer side, where the reason why we have to pay so much for content consumption links back to all of those things in one way or another. So if we can figure out a way using blockchain and cryptocurrency technology to streamline that overall process, then for sure everybody benefits from that.
What's blockchain going to do to our standard banks, the big banks. What's it going to do to them when people really start using this system as an alternative?
It should be transformational, just like any other stuff in the past. I mean, look at coming back to the content side of things. Like, look how content transformed in terms of the big broadcasters or the big movie houses, or Blockbuster to Netflix, right? It's either adapt or die. So I'm sure we'll see a shakedown. I'm sure some of them will go away, but at the same time, the ones that are smart and figure out ways to adjust to whatever comes, whether it be through influence or adapting, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they shrink, because that's what cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is all about, is about eliminating inefficiencies. So that should, there's definitely a transformative component there. I think the role of banks in the future is certainly not going to be, I mean, there'll be similar, it'd probably be some, custodial type stuff. You'll have a digital vault instead of a vault with, safe deposit. And again, those types of things. But
part of what you do, you analyze companies to see if they're viable, correct?
Yes.
So what advice would you have to Bob out there who wants to start Bob Coin?
Focus on all three pillars. Not just the technology, they're all equally important. So you see a lot of talk out there with projects, there's emphasis on the technology. It's going to do this, it's going to do this. But the thing is, if you don't have community, you don't have liquidity, you have nothing. You have a tree falling in the woods with nobody to hear.
Right.
You need the community to support those efforts, to help with the technology, to trade it, to find people. You need the liquidity. You need to be able to trade it for other stuff, or else it's a tree falling. It's isolated. All three of those pillars are equally important, and to neglect any one of them, like the pillars, if any of them are reduced, you're reducing your overall viability. So if you neglect liquidity, your viability is going to be less. If you neglect your community, it's going to be less. So, all the pillars, that's really what it comes right down to. Build out the three pillars, and you're viable. You're good.
And lastly, what advice would you have to people who are looking to invest in the cryptocurrency space? Because if you look at how the market has been this year, they're signing up for a financial roller coaster.
Yep.
Why would they do that?
I mean, a lot of people are looking for those quick gains, right? The 5, 10, 20Xs, the lottery winners are essentially what you're looking at there. Like, if you're trying to do some sort of analysis, or if you're looking for fundamentals, again, look at the three pillars, right? So, ultimately all these projects are measuring themselves against what the three pillars are. They may not realize it yet, but that's basically what it comes down to. So, does the technology work? Is it solid? Does it accomplish a particular thing? Who's the community? Which some people talk about market, but market is part of the community.
Right.
So, who are these people? How are they getting to them, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. And then liquidity. In what ways can you convert that coin into something else? Mm-hmm. If they only care about exchanges, well, that's, you're very limited in the liquidity side. If their market is small, using the three pillars, you can fairly quickly determine what the potential is in terms of a project, regardless of where they're at in terms of development. And then from there, most of the projects pretty much play out that way. So it makes it quite simple.
Where can people get more information about your project and the white papers that you've published?
So for the Niko coin, you can check out niko.eco. So it's niko.eco.
Okay.
Niko.eco, it's fun to say. And then my articles and white papers, I primarily put them out through, I guess the hub would be coineer.com. So it's coin plus pioneer. It's Coineer. So coineer.com. And that has links to the white papers and stuff.
Awesome. I'm going to check it out too. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
And we'll have a lot more to come from Toronto.